3 implants were placed. In this case, the bone volume was sufficient, and the implants were installed without a surgical guide. The mucosal thickness was 3 millimeters. The X-ray confirms adequate spacing between the implants. Now, I'll demonstrate 2 possible approaches for fabricating a bridge. On this model, we've removed the upper layer of soft tissue to avoid visual obstruction, revealing the exposed multi-units. The first option involves the familiar tall cone multi-units. However, after placing the third multi-unit, it becomes evident that prosthetic restoration is not feasible. The second option utilizes the Multima Pro system. With Multima Pro, this issue is resolved. Adequate space is maintained between the multi-units. We know the gingival height is 3 millimeters and the implants are angled accordingly. There is sufficient inter-implant spacing. The first step is to try in the bridge to confirm a passive fit and proper contact points, then proceed with final fixation. A challenge arises: the prosthetic screw channels intersect. I inserted the sleeves, one seated perfectly, while the other lacked depth. This was corrected by manually adjusting the structure. In this case, the outer channel walls were thick enough, allowing me to thin the interfering partition. Ideally, I should have used shorter sleeves, 3 millimeters instead of 4 millimeters. I'll make that change when producing the permanent bridge. I'll ask the technician to replace the sleeves, eliminating the need for manual adjustment. The Multima digital library makes this process simple. I refined the bridge by widening the contact areas and creating retention grooves in the crown walls with a ball burr for improved adhesive bonding. Minor debris remains in the trimmed zones. We recheck the sleeves, both seat without issue. If necessary, extra space can be created using a rotary disc. Fortunately, in this case, nothing interfered with bridge placement. The next step is inserting the screws into the sleeves. Multima screws are inserted with a hex driver. They grip securely and won't fall off. A guiding tip precedes the thread, allowing the screw to self-center. This simplifies the procedure. No need to align, hold, and turn simultaneously. The screws are exceptionally strong. We insert the screws into the bridge. This is a familiar, straightforward process. Use 2 fingers to hold the sleeve by its plate and prevent slipping. It's important to insert the sleeve and screw horizontally during bonding to avoid dislodgement. Once bonded, the screws remain in place thanks to small retention holes, and the adhesive-coated sleeve stays seated. This forms a single unified structure. Repeat the process with the second sleeve, carefully avoiding excess adhesive in the channels. When done properly, any surplus flows out. Now the bridge is ready for definitive placement. Intraorally, a bridge may shift. This is a key reason many clinicians avoid chairside bonding and opt for alternative techniques. However, those often fail to deliver the essential passive fit. For this reason, we follow the Skwirsky protocol. The first step is placing a guiding sleeve. which stabilizes the bridge. This sleeve is always placed on the most distal implant. At this stage, we leave it unbonded. Insert a screw and fix it to the last multi-unit. This simplifies the entire process. This is especially important in upper jaw cases. The bridge is introduced intraorally like this. Thanks to the small retention holes, the screw stays in place. The first sleeve is now fixed. While supporting the bridge manually, we secure the second sleeve. This is how the fixation process looks. Then we polymerize. The screw holds firm, allowing the procedure to continue smoothly. We then remove the bridge, starting with the first screw. Listen for the characteristic click, then the second. Always apply pressure to the driver until the click, indicating the screw has disengaged from the multi-unit. This step is best done in silence to avoid missing the sound. No music or background noise. We remove the bridge and verify everything is correct. Then unscrew the guiding sleeve. Two sleeves are now bonded. We then glue and secure the third one, applying adequate adhesive. According to protocol, we begin final fixation starting from the screw closest to the midline, ending with the distal one. Observe the process. After tightening the first screw and confirming accuracy, we no longer need to support the bridge. The third sleeve is polymerized. We screw it in, finalize the polymerization, and complete the procedure. A reminder: at the start of this demonstration, the tissue was intact. We removed it to clearly show the passive fit. Next, unscrewing begins, starting with the distal screw and ending at the midline. We now safely retrieve the bridge, ensuring it doesn't fall. This process is simple and efficient. Here's how the sleeves look after bonding. Note the microgaps. These compensate for tolerances introduced during bridge fabrication. Had the sleeves been bonded in a lab, these gaps wouldn't exist. They would fit perfectly. However, such lab-bonded sleeves would induce tension during installation, increasing the risk of fracture or implant rejection. Now we can assess how the sleeves behaved after all adjustments. Note the before and after contrast. It indicates minor fabrication errors, model inaccuracies, or missteps during processing. This confirms sleeves should not be bonded in the lab. These microgaps are evidence of real-world inaccuracies. Let's examine the sleeve from all angles. There are different size gaps on two sides. On the third side, the sleeve's plate contacts the bridge. This is what creates a monolithic functional connection. Without this point of contact, the sleeve remains essentially suspended in glue. There must always be contact between the crown and sleeve plate. As a finishing touch, gaps can be sealed with adhesive and polished. By using Multi-Unit Pro and adhering to protocol, we ensured passive fit, minimized risks, and maximized the long-term performance of the bridge.